Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into something that honestly impacts almost all of us right now, the challenges of modern learning, specifically those brought on by artificial intelligence. Now, there is absolutely no denying that AI is completely transforming language learning. It's taking us from those rigid, old-school classrooms into this highly adaptive, personalized experience. But underneath all that digital brilliance and convenience, there are some pretty complex hidden layers that we really need to unpack today.
So right off the bat, I want you to ask yourself this. Are we sacrificing true understanding for digital convenience? It's a huge question, and it really gets to the heart of the double-edged sword we're looking at today. Because on one hand, AI helps us learn faster than ever before. But on the flip side, we might actually be letting some absolutely crucial cognitive skills just slip away without even realizing it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at AI and modern learning, then we'll cover contextual and cultural limitations, over-reliance on technology, ethics and privacy, inequality and access, and finally, the future of collaborative learning.
All right, part 1, AI and modern learning. To really set the stage here, think about how traditional education normally works. It's usually pretty rigid and linear, right? Everyone learns the exact same material, you take the exact same tests. But the moment you bring in adaptive AI tools, think things like Grammarly or Duolingo, that whole dynamic shifts entirely. Suddenly, you've got these personalized, real-time feedback loops adjusting specifically to your behavior and your pace. It is a massive leap forward when it comes to giving learners targeted, immediate support. But, and this is a big but, there are boundaries to even the absolute smartest tech out there. A 2024 study by Teng breaks AI's hurdles down into two main buckets. First, you have inherent limitations. These are the technical weaknesses built right into the AI itself, like its inability to pick up on crucial nonverbal cues. Second, you have challenges, which are the real-world practical issues of actually implementing the tech, like the digital divide. A great way to think about AI is like a mirror, not a brain. It is phenomenal at reflecting the linguistic patterns we feed into it, but it totally lacks the true conscious understanding of the context behind those words.
Which brings us to part 2, contextual and cultural limitations.
So because AI is like a mirror, a major hurdle is its inability to grasp the incredibly human nuances of culture. Literal translations fail miserably when you throw idioms into the mix. Take the Chinese phrase, playing the lute to a cow. If an AI translates that directly for someone outside of that culture, they are going to be completely lost. Or think about the infamous case where KFC's classic slogan, "Finger licking good," was mistakenly translated in China to "open up my legs, beauty." I know, it's hilarious, but it perfectly proves how missing that cultural complexity can lead to some massive errors.
Another layer here is that AI systems usually rely heavily on just your very last input to judge what your intent actually is. Because of that, it totally misses deeper meanings, complex expressions of politeness, and especially non-Western cultural nuances. This is a real everyday issue for users of chatbots like Replika, who often just end up frustrated because the AI completely misreads the social context. It ends up turning what should be a conversation into a stiff, unnatural language exercise that's honestly pretty useless for the real world.
Moving on to part 3, over-reliance on technology.
Now, what's incredibly fascinating here is the sticky concept known as automation complacency. A 2024 study by Spatola highlights a major cognitive danger. Basically, when an AI constantly hands you a perfectly polished answer, it is way too easy to just say okay and accept it. Do that enough times, and you become a completely passive learner. Instead of developing your own independent problem-solving skills, you just lean on the machine to do all the heavy lifting for you.
So you have to ask yourself, are we focusing more on polishing an AI-generated product rather than actually building our own underlying writing and speaking skills? When we bypass these essential cognitive steps by just letting an algorithm do the thinking, we severely limit our own creativity. We undercut our ability to self-regulate our learning, and we erode our active reading and listening skills. Sure, we get a shiny final product, but we completely lose out on the mental workout that's actually required to truly learn a language.
All right, part 4, ethics and privacy. 93%. That is just a staggering number to wrap your head around. 93% of GPT-3's training data is in English. That means the systems we are relying on every single day are incredibly heavily weighted with an American or Western cultural bias. And the very real consequence of that is non-Western linguistic identities and really diverse global perspectives in general just end up marginalized or completely ignored by the algorithm.
This also brings up a pretty fascinating paradox when it comes to academic integrity.
Let's say a student is incredibly skilled at writing prompts and manages to get an AI to generate an essay that is way beyond their actual language level. Is that still their work? They might walk away with an A grade on paper, but their actual capability might still be sitting at a C. It's a huge ethical gray area, and honestly, the entire education sector is currently scrambling to figure out how to navigate it.
But beyond academic integrity, we also have to look closely at the data privacy risks baked into modern edtech. These platforms need massive amounts of data to personalize your learning experience. We're talking everything from tracking your behavioral patterns to collecting biometric voice data. It is absolutely vital that these apps are built with extreme transparency and robust data protection. Harvesting that level of personal information without super clear consent is a massive, massive risk to the user.
Next up, Part 5, Inequality and Access.
So, the crucial point we need to remember here is that even the most revolutionary AI tools are entirely useless if systemic inequalities prevent students from actually getting to them. The digital divide is a massive barrier right now. A lack of high-speed internet, exorbitant subscription costs, and frequent system crashes severely restrict students in rural or under-resourced regions. Technology is supposed to help close the education gap, not widen it. But without equitable access, widening the gap is exactly what threatens to happen.
And finally, Part 6, the future of collaborative learning. Let's see how all of this builds into some actual, actionable solutions. To safely integrate AI into education, researchers suggest a really robust, multifaceted framework. It starts with incredibly strong data protection and privacy safeguards. We also desperately need diversified, bias-aware training corpora so that everyone is represented fairly. Beyond that, we need human-AI collaboration rather than trying to replace humans, a pivot toward process-oriented instruction rather than just slapping a grade on a final output, and of course, comprehensive teacher training so educators know exactly how to manage these new tools.
And here's why all of this matters so much to you and me. Look, AI is fantastic at drilling vocabulary and detecting grammatical errors with lightning speed. It's a machine, but it cannot feel. True language learning requires the irreplaceable value of genuine human interaction. Human instructors provide empathy, emotional support, and that really subtle cultural guidance that an algorithm simply cannot replicate, no matter how advanced it gets. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. In an increasingly AI-dominated landscape, what is the future role of the human teacher going to look like? I really hope this explainer sparked your curiosity about the constantly evolving dynamic between new technology and traditional education. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep learning.